Okay, in this video we're going to talk about calculating and rounding in science. We really look at numbers in a really different way. In the last couple of videos we were talking about significant figures and counting significant figures, and you may think, okay, that's really weird, I don't understand what's happening. So let's talk about something like this. Here's a measuring tape, and that measuring tape can be used to measure things. Okay, so let's say that I have a project and I take that measuring tape and I hand a measuring tape to 3 different people and I ask them, I need you to measure an object and we're going to build it, but I need one of you to measure the length, one of you to measure the height, and one of you to measure the width. Okay, and so I ask them for their numbers, and so they come back to me and they give me the following numbers. The first guy tells me it's 2.34 centimeters. The second guy gives me a number of 10.6 centimeters. And the last guy tells me that he measured 4.21 centimeters. And so I need to know how much wood I need to cut in order to do this. Okay, so I'm just using this simple analogy. And you're going to need a calculator for this, so if you don't have a calculator, you want to grab it. But I'm going to take these 3 numbers and add them together. Okay, if you were in math class, let's do it longhand first. If you were in math class, what they would tell you to do is put a 0 here. Now, from what we learned in the other videos with things like this, okay, and measurement tools like this, can you measure everything that goes to 2, 3, and 4, and 5 decimal places? No, you can't. These are the numbers that were given to me. So in math class, what they would tell you to do is go ahead and put a 0 right there. But if he doesn't give you that measurement, that means when he measured it, he's only sure of his number to right there. Okay, so I'm going to add. 4 and 1 is 5, so I'm going to add them together, centimeters. Okay, 6, that's 9, 10, 11, carry my 1. Okay, so I'm going to have 3, that's 7, that's 17.15 centimeters. Okay, and I can even check it. 2.34 plus 10.6 plus 4.21 equals, okay, 17.15. Okay, matches it. Okay, now what I want to tell you is mathematically you did the math right, but you're rounding it wrong. So let me explain why. In science, we're trying to be exact. Okay, so if you notice, I can actually look at these numbers. I'm going to carry my 1, but I want to show you something. If I look at all these measurements, if I'm correct, this number goes to 2 decimal places, this one goes to 1 decimal places, this one goes to 2 decimal places. If I'm correct, let me use a different color to show this off. If I'm correct, that's the last place that all 3 of these numbers overlap. Why? Because this number doesn't have something in that place right there. Now, all 3 numbers go at least that far, so I'm only sure of my answer to right there. Now, we're looking at math in a really different way. We did the math right, 17.15 is right on our calculator, but the exact answer for this question has to match your number. So here's the deal. Your answer can only be as good as the numbers that you added or subtracted or multiplied or divide. In this video, we're just going to do add and subtract. Your answer can only be as good as the numbers you start with. So this is a very accurate number. This is a very accurate number. This is not as accurate, so my answer cannot be as accurate. So I have to stop my number right here and round. Normal rounding in math class. The answer to this question, and there's only one answer to this question, is 17.2 centimeters. That's the exact answer for the numbers I was given. So let's say that we put that out there and that second guy comes back and goes, oh, Mr. Kelly, I messed up. I know it was 10.60. I told you wrong. I actually measured to the 100th of a centimeter. Okay, that's fine. Take those same 3 numbers and add them together. You can do it on a calculator by hand. We know it's still 17.15 centimeters. Where is the last place that all those numbers overlap? This time it's different. It's there. So my answer for this one is 17.15 centimeters. The better the numbers you start with, the better, the more accurate answer you can have. Okay? And that starts to make sense in your brain, but you've never seen that before. So, third example. I want you to write these same 3 numbers down, except I'm going to change the middle one. Okay? Take a second, write these 3 numbers down. I'll take that out. 2.34, 10, and 4.21. Okay, when I add them together, it's 5. 3 and 2 is 5. This is 6, so it's 16.55. You can check me on your calculator. The question is this the exact answer? Well, where's the last place they all overlap? Here is the last place they all overlap. Why? This guy doesn't have any decimals. Since that doesn't have any decimals, my answer can't have any decimals. So in science, we have to be as accurate as we can. So we need to use the best tool available to get the best starting numbers, to get the best answers so that we can round it right. So the numbers that you use are going to tell you where to round. So this is as far as I'm sure of my answer because that's the only place that all three numbers overlap. So rounding, my answer is 17 centimeters. So that answer, wow, really changed a lot, didn't it? This is a vague answer because I had one number that was really vague to start with. This is how you do addition. Now, subtraction is the same rules. If you hadn't figured out the rules, here's the rules. We're going to go by least decimal places. So we're going to play with a couple of these real quick. We're going to have 47.569 centimeters minus 8.3 centimeters. So I'm not going to line them up this time. Okay, so I'm going to take my calculator. I'm going to line them up on here, minus 8.3, but I'll do the math on the calculator so I don't have to do all the borrowing, but here it is. 47.59, oops, I typed it wrong. 47.569 minus 8.3. The answer is 39.269. Here's what does not happen in science. Raise your hand and go, Mr. Kelly, I got a question for you. Where do you want me to round the answers? The answer to that question is look at your numbers. Where do you round? Well, if I've lined the decimal up, if I'm correct, this is the last place they all, whoops, I even lined it out wrong. 39.269. I'm going to go to one decimal place. Why? That has one decimal place, that has one decimal place. Does that make that round? Yep, 39.3 centimeters is the answer to this question. Now let's pretend for just a minute, let's pretend. This is not right, but let's say that was a 2. Does the 2 make that round up? Nope, so then my answer would have been 39.2. Okay, here's what you don't do. Okay, this happens every once in a while. Let's say that's a 4. I'll be really silly here for a minute. Let's say that's a 4, 4, 4, 9. Let's say we did this math and this is the crazy answer we get. That's completely wrong. But we're going to pretend for a second. And this is what we see on the calculator. And we've got to go one decimal place, one decimal place. We've got to stop the number right there. Oop, the 9 makes that round to a 5. The 5 makes that round. That makes that round. Makes that round. Makes that round. Every time you round, you have a slight error. So you have error, 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 error. Tons of error. So what you're going to do is this. You look at one place past where you cut your number off. So if I'm cutting it off here, if it's a 5 or higher, it rounds. Does that round? No. The answer is 39.2 and everything else goes away. Now that wasn't the real answer. The real answer a minute ago was 6.9 centimeters. The 6 made that round and the answer is a 3. Calculating and rounding with significant figures and how you round and all that kind of stuff is very simple. So let's do a couple of them where I don't line everything up. You just have to look. You have to use inspection. So let's take some numbers. 78.653 centimeters. I'm just going to stay with centimeters for all of them. 4.16 centimeters. And I'm going to add them. Grab your calculator. Add them together. I'm going to do the same thing. 78.653 plus 4.16. My calculator says 82.813 centimeters. Is that the correct answer? Well, I have to look. Least decimal places. Catch it? Least places after the decimal. 1, 2, 3 places after the decimal, 1, 2. So I can only go 2 places. Did you catch that? 3 places after the decimal, 2 after the decimal. My answer, 82.81 centimeters, is the exact answer for this question. What if that 6 wasn't there? Then I could only go to 1 decimal place. So the numbers in the question tell you where to round. It is not every question is rounded the same way. Let's try another one. 469.5837 minus 261.4. We're going to make them centimeters. Okay? Take a handy dandy calculator. 469.5837 minus 261.4. 208.1837 is what my calculator says. Okay? Is that the answer? I don't know. Let's check. Least places after the decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. So I have to stop right there. 208. What happens? 208, does that 8 make it round? Yep. 208.2 centimeters is the best answer for that question with the numbers that are given. It is very, very simple to do. Okay? You take the numbers that you're given, put them in your calculator, and you solve. Okay? So what happens, here's a hard one, here's a really difficult one. Make sure, and I always put a star just to make it jump out in my notes. Okay? 4.63 times 10 to the second centimeters plus 4.16 times 10 to the first centimeters. Huh? Here's the easiest way to do this. Convert them to their real numbers. Times 10 to the second, positive power, move the decimal 2 places to the right. So this is 463 centimeters. That's what this number is. This number to the first power is moved, so I'm going to add 41.6. See how I got that? Moved 1 decimal place to the right, 2 decimal places to the right. So I'm going to add them together. 463 plus 41.6 equals 504.6 centimeters. Now, where do I round? How many places after the decimal? Well, the decimal is supposed to be there. There's no places. 1 decimal, 0 places. So I'm going to have to cut it off right there. Does the 6 make it round? Yep, 505 centimeters is the exact answer. So what I'm doing right now, all science is going to use numbers the same way, calculate with numbers the same way, and round the same way. Okay? It doesn't matter if it's addition and subtraction, it's the same rules. In the next video, you're going to try some of these with just addition and subtraction.